Good day, boys and girls. Here we are continuing our math lessons virtually, and we will be continuing chapter 11 and with it, which is measurement, and specifically with lesson 4, which is converting units of capacity. Now, I want to remind you of Gallon Man, who is here to help you and with showing you how the different units of capacity relate. We have here a customary units of capacity chart that 1 cup equals 8 fluid ounces. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. 2 cups is 1 pint. 2 cups, 1 pint. 2 pints, 1 quart. 2 pints, 1 quart. 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. Now we start with, it says you can use multiplication to convert units. To change from a larger unit to a smaller unit, multiply. Now I added this, which you might want to add to your chapter 11 notes, today we're doing capacity, but this information can help you with conversions of any type of measurement. If you go from a large unit to a small, you multiply. Large unit to a small, large unit to a small, you multiply. If you go from a small unit to a large, small unit to a large, you divide. As you can see, I look like a division symbol. So like I said, we're doing capacity today, but this information can help you with any types of conversions that involve measurement. So let's start with the first example. Example 1. Marcus has a 2-gallon container of laundry detergent. Here's our measurement. It's 2 gallons of laundry detergent. First question, how many quarts of laundry detergent does he have? First question, we want to know how many quarts is that? These 2 gallons, how many quarts is that? How many pints of laundry detergent does he have? This is our second question. How many pints does he have? Okay, so one of the things we want to make sure in capacity is that we see how the different measurements relate. We're talking about gallons and quarts. Okay, so we know how do gallons, we're going to go from gallons to quarts. How do they relate? It's a large to a small, so we're going to multiply. Well, we know that 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. Okay? According to 1 gallon is 1, 2, 3, 4 quarts. But we don't have 1 gallon, we have 2. So every time we have a gallon, we're going to multiply it by 4 when we're dealing with gallons and quarts. Since quarts are smaller than gallons, multiply. Multiply by 4 because there are 4 quarts in each gallon. So we don't have 1, we have 2. 2 times 4 equals 8. So there are 8 quarts in 2 gallons. Now it says find the number of pints that are in 8 quarts. Okay, so we are going from quarts to pints. Okay, remember, larger to smaller, we multiply. We want to see what is the relationship of quarts and pints. Well, 1 quart is 2 pints. So 1 quart equals 2 pints. So every time when we're dealing with quarts and pints, every time we have a quart, we're going to multiply it by 2. Okay? So multiply 8 by 2 because there are 2 pints in each quart. So 8 times 2 equals 16. Math fact. So there are 16 pints in 8 quarts. So Marcus has 8 quarts or 16 pints of laundry detergent with those 2 gallons. Okay, let's continue to example 2. You can turn to the page and I'll change the screen. Okay, and a helpful hint here, we don't want to ignore those. When converting measures, there will be more smaller units than larger units. Here's our Gallon Man. is a lot more of the smaller, because we go from cups to pints to quarts to gallon. There's a lot more of the smaller than the larger. Okay, complete. 4.5 quarts equals blank pints. Once again, we want to see the relationship. Convert the whole number first. So we're going from quarts to pints. Okay? Larger to smaller, we want to multiply. According to Gallon Man, 1 quart equals 2 pints. So every time we're going from quarts to pints, we're going to multiply times 2. Okay? There are 2 pints in 1 quart. 2 pints and 1 quart. Since pints are smaller than quarts, you multiply 4, the 4 here, times 2, which is 8. But we still have half a quart. So you're going to multiply the half times 2 as well. But you learned this in when we worked on fractions. You can make the whole number an improper fraction. 2 over 1, it still means 2. 1 times 2, 2. 2 times 1, 2. 2 over 2, or 2 halves, equals 1. So half of 2 pints is 1 pint. So for this half, we have the 8 already. The 8 pints already. We're going to add the half quart, which is 1 pint. So then we have 9. So 4.5 quarts equals 9 pints. Okay? I'm going to go down to the guided practice now. Okay. Once again, we're going to convert quarts to pints. Before we convert, we want to see what's the relationship of quarts to pints. We know when we go from larger to smaller, multiply. 1 quart equals 2 pints. So every time we have a quart, we want to multiply it by 2, to get the pints. Well, we don't have 1 quart, we have 10 quarts. So what do? 10 times 2 equals 20. Therefore, 10 quarts is the same as 20 pints. Okay, now we're going to do 3.5 cups and we're going to put it to fluid ounces. Cups to fluid ounces. So we're going from cups to fluid ounces. Larger to smaller, multiply. Okay? 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. 1 cup equals 8 fluid ounces. So every time we're going to go from cups to fluid ounces, we're going to multiply times 8. But we have 3.5 cups. Let's first deal with the whole number, the 3. 3 times 8 equals, that's a math fact, 24. Now for the half cup. What is half a cup? What is half of 2? Half of 2, half of 8 is 4. Okay? But you can do this as well. 1/2 cup times 8, that's like putting it over 1, which makes an improper fraction. This is 8 halves. 8 halves is the same as 4. Okay? So then you add it. 24 plus 4, 28. So 3.5 cups is 28 fluid ounces. Okay. We now have 5 quarts and we're going to put it in pints. Quarts and pints. Once again, quarts are larger. So we're going from quarts to pints. What do we know about quarts and pints? First of all, larger to smaller, we're going to multiply. And what do we know about quarts and pints? Over here, 1 quart equals 2 pints. 1 quart equals 2 pints. So every time we're going from quarts to pints, we're going to multiply times 2. We don't have 1 quart, we have 5 quarts. So 5 times 2 equals 10. Therefore, 5 quarts is the same as 10 pints. Now, when you have a conversion chart, you basically approach it the same way. You want to see the relationship of the units of measurement. Okay, we have pints. We're going from pints to cups. Okay, pints to cups. Pints are larger than cups. Okay, so that means we need to multiply. So if we go from pints, we know that 1 pint, okay, equals 2 cups. So every time we go from a pint to cups, we want to multiply times 2. So here, these are all our pints. Every time we're going to do times 2, times 2, times 2, and times 2. These are all math facts. By you just doing this, you're showing me your work. 1 times 2, 2. 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 2, 6. 4 times 2, 8. Okay, now here is just putting them together. Make sure you put whatever is the value of the pint as the first number, whatever is the value of the cup as the second number. Okay, so 1 pint is 2 cups. 2 pints is 4 cups. 3 pints is 6 cups. 4 pints is 8 cups. So notice all the pints are here. These are the pints. They're all here. Pints underneath. These are the cups. These are the cups that are all underneath here. Next conversion chart. Gallons to quarts. Okay, here's our gallon. We're going from, and then it has quarts. We're going from gallons to quarts, which means larger to smaller, which means we need to multiply. But what are we going to multiply? Well, let's first, what is the relationship of gallons and quarts? Well, 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. I would reference back as much as you can, okay? So every time we have a gallon, and we're going to go from gallons to quarts, we want to multiply times 4. So here's all our gallons, times 4, times 4, times 4, and times 4. Once again, these are all math facts. By you doing this, I know that's your work. The only time you would have to do more is if you're dealing with math facts that are larger than the 12 table. So 2 times 4, 8. 4 times 4, 16. 6 times 4, 24. 8 times 4, 32. Now once again, this is just putting the two measurements together. These are the gallons, here's the gallons, so all the first numbers have to be gallons. These are the quarts, all the second numbers have to be the quarts. So for 2 gallons, we have 8 quarts. For 4 gallons, we have 16 quarts. For 6 gallons, we have 24 quarts. And for 8 gallons, we have 32 quarts. Okay? So, now the independent practice, I would leave you to work on the independent practice, giving you certain ones to work on. But today, because of the nature of the independent practice, I'm going to do a few with you because of the fact that some are independent practice questions that were not in the guided practice. So I'm going to do a few with you. As you can see from here, 6 and 7 were in the guided practice. 8 through 13 were also in the guided practice. Now what was not in the guided practice was questions for 14 through 19. So I'm going to do a few with you, and then you will do the rest on your own. Now let's remember the comparison symbols we use. This means greater than, this means less than, and I know you know that means equal. Well, as we learned when you compared fractions, you could not compare fractions that had different denominators. You had to find an equivalent fraction in order to compare them. Well, that applies in a way to comparing units of measurement. You cannot compare units of measurement that are different. So we want to convert one of them so that they're both the same. Now we have quarts and pints. We're going to work on changing the quarts to pints because we have been working on going from larger to smaller. Quarts are larger than pints. Okay, so when we go from quarts to pints, they are larger. And we know that 1 quart equals 4 pints. Okay, we know that from here. 1 quart, equals 2 pints, not 4 pints, 2 pints. 1 quart equals 2 pints. As you can see, very important to reference back. I'm looking at the 4 there, got confused. So 1 quart equals 2 pints. So every time we go from quarts to pints, we're going to multiply times 2. Okay? We don't have 1 quart, we have 4. So 4 times 2 equals 8. Therefore, 4 quarts is the same as 8 pints. Now, since we have converted this, we can now compare. How does 8 pints compare to 10 pints? Well, 8 pints are less than 10 pints. Therefore, 4 quarts are also less than 10 pints. Okay, so gallons to fluid ounces. Well, we don't have, from our conversion chart, we don't have any direct connection to gallons and fluid ounces, so we're going to make one. We know that 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. We know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cups makes a gallon. So if we have 16 cups, and we know that every cup is 8 ounces, we're going to multiply it by 8. Okay. 8 times 6, 48. Carry the 4. 8 times 1, 8 plus 4 is 12. Therefore, 16 cups are 128 fluid ounces. Since 16 cups are a gallon, 1 gallon equals 128 fluid ounces. Now we can deal with this problem. Gallons to fluid ounces. We know we're going from gallons to fluid ounces. Okay? Larger to smaller, it means we want to multiply. So for every gallon, that is the same as 128 fluid ounces equals 128 fluid ounces. So if we're going to go from gallon to fluid ounces, we want to multiply by 128. We don't have 1 gallon, we have 10. So then we do 10 times 128. Okay, 1 times 128, 128, tack on that 0. Therefore, 10 gallons is the same as 1,280 fluid ounces. Okay, these are the same measurement. Look what happens here. So 10 gallons equals 1,280 fluid ounces. Okay, I'm going to do one more with you. Quarts to cups. 1 quart to 2 cups. So we have a quart. How many cups is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going from quart to cups. Okay. Larger to smaller. 1 quart is 4 cups. 1 quart equals 4 cups. But we don't have, well, we actually do have 1 quart. So we already know that this is the same as 4 cups. So now we can compare. This is actually showing me your work. Okay? So 4 cups is greater than 2 cups. Therefore, 1 quart is greater than 2 cups. So I will now leave you that would be a bell for you. But I will now leave you to the independent practice, and we will meet up with any questions you may have, and I know that you can do a great job. God bless you.